sit by myself, talking to the moon.
Good morning, friends. Have you ever thought for a second how bizarre it is that we put so much emphasis on our appearance as the most important function of our bodies? Meanwhile, our brains are thinking and our eyes are seeing, and there are so many things our bodies are doing that we don't even understand how it works yet. It's a marvel. The body is a marvel. And yet we are still just obsessed and harming ourselves and limiting ourselves based on what our appearance is. I mean, that is so bizarre. It's like getting a shiny new iPhone and only caring about its sleek design features. Pretty isn't a feeling. Feelings are emotions or sensations. Pretty is not an emotion, and it is not a sensation. It's an external judgment. It's not a feeling. I think when people say, I feel pretty, what they're actually saying is either my outside presentation is the way I want to express myself in the world, or they are saying, I am full of self-love. And with both of those meanings, the only way we're really allowed to take joy in those things is if it is approved of by a society that says we have to be pretty. But really, you can just enjoy feeling confident in yourself for your own reasons. Look, I don't want to romanticize disability because there is a lot of ways that it is exceptionally hard and that we have to work to make it less so. But I think something that people never talk about is the joy and freedom that can come through accepting your own limitations. Because when you accept your own limitations, what you're doing is setting a customized metric for what you are capable of. And that means you don't have to judge yourself by what anybody else says you should be capable of, or what your potential is, or whether or not they can use that to extract something from you like you're a fucking coal mine. No, instead you just get to say, what am I capable of? And how can I use that to contribute to this world and build a good life? If you have a lot of resistance around doing the things that will help you on your healing journey, it's okay to just start sarcastic. Start as a bit. That's totally okay. Like sometimes I will be sitting there doing some affirmations and be like, like, ooh, I really love myself. If that's where you have to start, that's okay. That's okay. It'll feel a little less stupid every day. And then one day you'll be going, oh, I love myself. Huh. What do you know? Body positivity can work really well for people who can meet the status quo by expanding the definition of the status quo. But for people who will never be able to meet the definition of the status quo, body positivity is often a little uninspiring. So, for example, disabled people, no matter how positively I think, my body will not work like someone else's. My brain will not work like someone else's, and I cannot pretend otherwise. So I have to make peace with my brain and body around something other than finally being able to approve of it because it meets societal expectations. No, I have to change my expectations for society. I think a lot of people are starting to discuss some of the limitations around body positivity, how it still centers appearance, how it can lead to denial or toxic positivity, how it still leaves out disabled people and trauma survivors. But I also want to discuss some of the limitations of body neutrality, because I just don't feel like it's like we've landed, like this is, I don't feel like this is where the discourse is going to stop. Like, I don't feel we found the solution yet. Because the thing with body neutrality is it's harm reduction, which is very good. I am very in favor of harm reduction. And with either body positivity or body neutrality, if you're getting great results out of it, then don't let me stop you. By all means, keep on going. But I feel like body neutrality as harm reduction is limited in how it can inspire positive habits, positive self-care changes that are what's really necessary to get great results beyond just stopping the harm. Like, that's a very important part of it, stopping the harm, but also we need to build new skills. And I just don't see body neutrality as offering that. But also, the reasons we are filled with self-hate are because of reasons of oppression. It's ableism, it's white supremacy, it's capitalism. Those are the reasons why we are filled with so much criticism and self-hatred. And so those systems of oppression are not going to be tackled by neutrality, and they're not administered through neutrality. There are people who are impacted by these systems of oppression more than other people. That's not neutral. That's not neutral. So, it's wonderful to serve its purpose. I totally believe in harm reduction. I just think we need more. And that's why I talk about body loyalty, is because I think that loyalty gives us a place to start. It does not center appearance. It gives us a way to reconcile all of the complicated feelings we have, not just the positive ones. And it's a solidarity movement, because if we want worker protections, if we want living wages, if we want clean air and water, if we want safety from our justice system, we need solidarity for any of those things. We can't protect our own body without protecting the bodies of everyone else. And that's not neutral.
I think a lot of people over the course of this pandemic have had reason to start asking themselves in new ways, what is my value if I can't contribute at work? If I'm not being rewarded for my work, what am I worth? And as someone who is disabled and has had to really look those fears of being a burden right in the face, let me tell you how I resolved it for myself. I truly, deeply believe that every single human being has inherent worth and dignity. And if I believe that about everybody, I can believe that about myself too. And so then when I put those beliefs into action and I fight for all of us, that's how you find empowerment.
Your humanity is not an inconvenience. Your body is not an inconvenience. Your body is good. No matter what it looks like, no matter how it functions, your body matters because you matter. Your body is how you experience the world and how the world experiences you. That's enough to matter. You know how you'll see like business gurus and influencers tell some story about how they did the rise and grind and they worked their ass off, and to reward themselves, they're going to have some extravagant purchase to show that they made it. Like they got the house, they got the car, they got the Louis Vuitton bag, that kind of thing. And every time I hear that message, I just feel like people are telling on themselves. Because I think about the words of John Candy in Cool Runnings. In that movie, he plays a coach who cheated in the Olympics and now has a second chance. And when one of his new players from the Jamaican bobsled team asked him why he cheated, he talks about how he had made needing to win his whole identity, and how a gold medal is a beautiful thing, but if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. That is what I think when I see those hustle culture warriors. Like, oh, bless your heart. You don't know. The Louis Vuitton purse is not going to fill the hole in your heart. If you're not enough without it, you will never be enough with it.
How often do you neglect your own care to punish yourself? Like specifically to punish your body for hurting you or having needs? I do. I know I'm not alone in this. The way I talk to myself, what it takes for me to finally go and take the ibuprofen, whatever. I'm constantly neglecting myself to punish my body for daring to need something. But that approach is like a child reacting to antagonism. And instead, I should be reacting like an adult who hears a warning signal. Because that's what pain and body needs are. They are the warning signals of our systems. I mean, something is going wrong and needs attention before the whole thing blows up. Your body isn't trying to hurt you. It's asking for your help. It is a tremendous amount of work to make peace with your body, to find healing, to develop the habits, to develop these care routines. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of internal work as you face some of these ugly things you think about yourself. It's hard, but it is so worth it. Even if you never get to self-love, it is still worth it. Because just think about the money alone. How much money are you spending trying to fix yourself? Trying to buy the thing that's going to make you feel good. Like, just the money you'll save alone is amazing. The time you will save, the energy you can put towards other things. It's absolutely worth it. Even if what you end up with does not look like the self-esteem lectures of your childhood, it's still worth it just to make peace. You can stop hating the fat on your body. All you have to do is stop hating fat people. We were taught this. This is not a natural thing. Look at art. We have known fat bodies are beautiful throughout all time. It is just very recently we have been taught fat is not beautiful because it serves the interests of racism, ableism, and capitalism. We were taught to think these things, so we can teach ourselves to think something else. One way I'm doing it is that I follow a lot of fat creators. And when they come up on my For You page, I give them a heart and I tell myself, they are beautiful. This is what beauty looks like. Because first of all, it's true. Flesh is sexy. Bodies are beautiful. The diversity of human experience is beautiful. And the only people who don't want us to believe that are the people who want our money and to control us.
This comment is a great illustration of why I felt like I needed to develop body loyalty instead of sticking with some of the other approaches out there, like body positivity and neutrality and all the others. It's because I'm disabled and I'm a trauma survivor, and I just never found any other approach that acknowledged that reality, that there is more to how we feel about ourselves and why we feel that way than just our appearance. So that is what I do with this account, is I teach how to reconcile and make peace with your body however it functions, however it looks. Because disability is the piece that always gets left out, and that is a hard thing to deal with that we need to work on together. And I think that I can. I hope what I'm coming up with will be helpful, but this is what I have to teach at my account. And so stick around and I hope I have answers for you.
We teach our children to hate their bodies by demonstrating for them their whole lives how much we hate our own. The good news is that we can reverse engineer this process. And all we have to do to teach them how to love their bodies is to demonstrate for them how much we love our own.
How do you love yourself? Like, how?
Once again, Katie, I am glad TikTok has connected us because you are who I developed body loyalty for. I have OCD. I have CPTSD. I am no contact with my family. I have extremely good reason to be treatment resistant. I couldn't handle the talk of self-love. Like, we can't even get there. But I had to do the habits to survive, like, because of disability. And so I just took love off the table. We're not even going to worry about love, because then I'd just get in a shame spiral because I couldn't manage to love either. Fuck love. We're not worrying about that right now. We start with loyalty, because that will be enough to get you to start doing the habits that eventually will lead you to someplace we're just not going to talk about today. But for today, loyalty. I felt like I had really good reason to hate my body. I felt like she betrayed me through pain and disability and infertility. I hated her for not being a safe place for me when I experienced traumas. And I hated that because of all this, I'm wired like a rescue dog and shiver at the slightest threat. But then I started trauma therapy, and I started reading all the books, and I learned about betrayal trauma, and I learned about the body keeping the score. And I realized my body's job was not to prevent all that. It was to bear the cost of all that. She kept me safe until I was in a position where I could do it on my own. And now it's my job to take care of her and get her free. My body is a horse named Beloved. This is a metaphor that I use, and it started as an artistic metaphor. And I've since found out that all kinds of recovery people use a similar technique. Eating disorder recovery, health at any size, intuitive eating. Lots of people recommend naming your body. And I fell into it because I took up singing as a way to bring some joy into my life after a very hard bout of surgical recovery. So I'm singing for my vocal teacher, and when I finish, she goes, "How did that feel?" And I go, I don't have sensations. And so to learn how to sing, I had to learn how to feel my body so that I could produce the sounds and do the, I had to figure out how my body worked. So I use this metaphor. I have a big, powerful voice. So I have a big, powerful horse is my body named Beloved. Whenever a therapist asked me to list my positive attributes or the things I liked about myself, it got me nowhere, because I was absolutely convinced that my innermost core self was absolute garbage and unworthy of love, and everybody would eventually discover that. So I just felt like a liar. But what did make a difference is when I thought about the roles I play that I value, or the parts of myself that I value. So for you, maybe it's your artist self, or your athlete self, or your academic self, or your father's daughter, or your spouse's spouse. For me, it was my son's mom. The woman that he looks at like that, I love her. And so that was a place I could value. I love my son's mom. I could start treating her better. And then the rest of me could build off of that. But that was a place that I could start to feel okay about loving. You don't have to love your body. You don't have to. You don't have to love your body to work with it. You don't even have to like your body to work with it. I bet there's somebody at the job you have now that you can't stand, but you still have to deal with them because that's the job. Well, dealing with the one body you got in this life, that's the job. So you don't have to like it, but you can find a way to productively work together. So at work, if there's somebody driving you crazy, you can make sure that they have the tools they need to do their job so they don't bother you so much. So give your body the tools it needs to do the job so it doesn't bother you so much. Rest it, feed it, move it around sometimes, meet its needs, and your relationship will suddenly become more productive. How do you get to self-love from self-hate? Like how? How though? You know? Well, I'm disabled, and in my recovery life, I have to figure that out for my survival. And so what I've come up with is a trauma and disability informed approach to healing body image and body shame. And I call it body loyalty because I think positive, negative, whatever, it's still judgments. And you need a relationship with your body. So come and follow me on TikTok. It's Body Loyalty. On Insta, on Twitter, I'm on Body Loyalty, and I'm on bodyloyalty.com. And let me show you what I've learned the hard way.